Welcome everybody to the RottenPop podcast. My name is Sid Rotten, and today we're going to be talking about Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. That's number 53 out of the 150 movies of 1984. Friday the 13th, the final chapter is an American slasher film directed by Joseph Zito and produced by Frank Mancuso Jr. It stars Kimberly Beck, Peter Barton, Corey Feldman, Erich Anderson, Crispin Glover, Alan Hayes, and Barbara Howard. It was released by Paramount Pictures on April 13th, 1984. This was intended to be the final installment in the final Friday the 13th series, but as we all know, it wasn't. For all intents and purposes, this was, though, the final appearance of the alive, quote-unquote, version of Jason Voorhees, who became a zombie from this point forward. Following the events of Friday the 13th Part 3, Jason Voorhees is presumed dead, and his body transported to a local hospital's morgue. However, the masked slasher isn't dead, and he returns once again to go on another killing spree as he heads back to his home at Camp Crystal Lake. On the way, Jason encounters plenty of young, horny teenagers to kill, as well as a family that includes a troublesome little kid named Tommy Jarvis. The final chapter ties the first four films together in a sort of operatic way. The beginning gives a quick overview of the first three movies before we settle right into the familiar hack and slash that we all know and love with Jason. The newest group of teens provides quite a lot of entertainment. Crispin Glover is hilarious. His take on his character really makes it his own. Jimmy is this weird, quirky teenager who's super obsessed with the fact that he got called a dead fuck, and he stands out as the most entertaining of the group. He has the best scenes, including this bizarre dance number, and he also gets this really grisly death at the hands of the imposing Jason, played by stuntman Ted White here, who does an amazing job. Ted White is a fantastic Jason, probably one of the best. Corey Feldman is the other standout star of the picture, a child star since 1978. Feldman had already established himself on television before landing his role. He was great. I loved the small details about his character, but I had always wanted to see them do more with this guy. The other actors were mostly just random good-looking people for Jason to slay, and that's what he does. The lead star of the film is really the effects. Tom Savini was brought back in to kill off the franchise that he had helped create, and he creates and treats the audience to some of this really creative, brutal, massively epic killings. Meat cleavers to the face, harpoon guns to the dick, knives to the guts, all sorts of gallons of blood being spilled. It's amazing. Friday the 13th could have ended with this movie. The story was over, Jason was finally dead, the weird little Feldman kid had killed him, but the series would keep running on for numerous films after this one. Rumors had been that the studios were tired of the series. However, they kept going after Final Chapter gained a lot of money at the box office. Regardless of the critics, I liked this movie quite a bit. It's not my favorite, but it's a great ending of the original incarnation of Jason Voorhees. Well, that's my review, so let's take a look at the stats. So, Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, directed by Joseph Zito, one of my favorite horror movie directors, even though apparently he's a terrible person. Producer Frank Mancuso Jr., writer Barney Cohen, starring Kimberly Beck, Peter Barton, Corey Feldman, Erich Anderson, Crispin Glover, Alan Hayes, Barbara Howard, and Lawrence Monoson. The studio was Paramount Pictures. RottenPop Reviews gives this 3 stars. It is number 53 of the 150 movies of 1984. It was released in the US and in Turkey on April 13th, 1984. And yeah, it is a horror movie with a slasher genre. So that is what I think of Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. This is my first try doing one of these types of reviews. I hope that you enjoy it. Join me next time when I'm reviewing number 54 of the 150 movies of 1984, Bikini Island Massacre. Have a good one.
Let's all go to the lobby.